Dạ, kính thưa ban tổ chức Trả lại lịch sử thật và các anh em cựu quân nhân quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa. Tôi là Đại tá Lương Việt, Lữ đoàn trưởng Lữ đoàn 3, tác chiến sư đoàn 101, đang tham dự mặt trận Á Phú Hãn. Buổi họp hôm nay có rất nhiều ý nghĩa đối với tôi. Những chiến công lớn lao của những anh em quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa không xa gì với bản thân tôi, tại vì chính thân phụ tôi cũng đã có mặt ở những trận như Huế, Quảng Trị, Mậu Thân và Hạ Lào. Những sự hy sinh vĩ đại và tinh thần chiến đấu mãnh liệt của các anh em trong những trận khốc lửa như An Lộc, Huế và Quảng Trị sẽ mãi mãi ghi nhớ trong trí óc và lòng tự hào của các anh em thế hệ 2 chúng tôi. Tôi muốn nhắc với các anh em là tôi rất là hãnh diện, là con cháu của cựu quân nhân quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa. Mà khi những con tim của thế hệ 2 vẫn đập mạnh trên những chiến trường Á Phú Hãn và Iraq, thì cũng có nghĩa là chống mê linh vẫn còn đập mạnh để kêu gọi những thanh niên hào kiệt đứng dậy bảo vệ giữ gìn cho đất nước, cho tự do và cho cách sống của con cháu chúng ta sau này. Anh em thế hệ 2 chúng tôi sẵn sàng chấp nhận trách nhiệm này. Và một lần nữa tôi xin cảm ơn ban tổ chức đã cho tôi một cơ hội hôm nay. Nhảy dù cố gắng, rock on.
A unique perspective, one U.S. Army officer using personal lessons from Vietnam to fight insurgents in Iraq. CNN's Carl Penhall takes a look.
You guys gotta keep that sharp edge.
As an American paratrooper in Iraq, Lieutenant Colonel Viet Luong knows well the dangers of war. But as a boy, it was another war that scarred him, in Vietnam. He was 2.5 during the Viet Cong's 1968 Tet Offensive.
People running everywhere, dead bodies on the streets, and gunfire sporadically throughout the city. My house burning down, my mom trying to get all 8 kids out of the house.
The date that really sticks in his mind, April 29th, 1975, the day before the fall of Saigon.
Extreme fear, and I see chaos going all around me. I was very convinced that we were going to make it.
His father was a colonel in the South Vietnamese Marines, trying to save himself, his wife and children as communist insurgents overran Saigon.
You never know whether you're going to make it out or not. You can hear the bad guys all around the airport shooting, you know, ARVN units fighting and dying, U.S. Marines shooting back, securing the airport.
As the family left almost every possession behind, Viet got an order from his father he'll never forget.
We had one brown Samsonite suitcase. I still remember how it looks like. And he said, "Look, son, I'm going to entrust you with all the family documents, and you're it. You got to protect this with all your life."
Viet recalls his father helped clear bomb debris from the runway at Saigon Airport. Then, salvation.
It was a magnificent view of a fleet of CH-53 helicopters. Now, that was the coming of the angels from the air to come and get us.
The helicopter lifted off.
The tracers coming back up at us, but it didn't matter. You know, the door gunner was shooting back. We're like, hey, we're going to make it.
More than 3 decades later, 12 months into his tour in Iraq, this battle-hardened colonel has a unique view as to whether this is America's new Vietnam.
We didn't lose the war, from my perspective. People would argue that we're losing the war here. We're not losing the war here. But so you ask me as a military man, did we lose the war? Absolutely not. And, you know, out of the 53,000 U.S. soldiers that lost their lives there, I'm not going to disrespect them by saying we lost the war, because we didn't, okay? But at the same time, we lost the conflict because of other factors that we can't control, you know? It's the will of the U.S. people, the will of the government.
Waning support for the Iraq war effort is not the only echo of Vietnam. Luong's uncles, ex-combatants from North and South Vietnam, send messages to the battlefront warning of parallels between Iraqi insurgents and the Viet Cong.
Some of my uncles are like in their 60s right now. They're still writing me mails in Vietnamese and saying, hey, this is what, you know, these are the things you need to look for. They're using some very similar tactics and techniques, you know, the safe havens, going to places just such as churches and mosques to prevent you from targeting them, getting close to the population so you can't use your firepower.
As a battalion commander, Luong has lost 16 of his young soldiers in combat around Samara. The insurgents may be poorly trained, he says, but they are as strongly motivated as the communist Viet Cong guerrillas were.
Nationalism is something you cannot underestimate, the will of people, the will of somebody to fight and die.
American leaders believe the key to winning in Iraq is getting the Iraqi security forces and government to take the lead. Here they call it setting benchmarks. In Vietnam, they called it Vietnamization. The policy failed.
The South Vietnamese leadership as a whole, you can say we're not entirely competent, you know? I mean, just like Iraq, if you pick the right people in the right position and the right leadership to run the course of their country, make a big difference.
It's hard to stay optimistic as the body count rises steadily, but a distant memory drives Luong, his father's voice, the day before the fall of Saigon.
He says, guys, you know, we're going to make it. I'm going to make sure we make it through this, and this is a monumental moment in our history, and you shouldn't be cowering. You should be observing everything that goes around you because you're part of history.
History that one day will judge whether Iraq has become America's new Vietnam. Carl Penhall, CNN, Samara, Iraq.